Okay, every once in a while I get a question that I don't want to just take 2 or 3 minutes in a YouTube short video to answer. Really needs some elaboration. So I have a question from somebody on the YouTube channel. He states, do you ever deal with an implosion phase? Sometimes instead of acting out at a person, I turn that energy into self-hatred at my inability to handle situations that normal folks handle with ease. My self-directed impulses are better under control, but in the past I have self-harmed in various ways. So that's a great question, and it deserves a long answer. And by the way, that's very common for people on the autism spectrum, especially with ASD husbands who are already frustrated with how they're not meeting expectations and so on. So we're talking about managing internal explosions, right? And what to do when you implode instead of explode. So we can say that life gets pretty hectic, and sometimes that stress builds up to a point where it's just too hard to handle, especially if you're in a conflictual relationship with, let's pretend that you're the ASD husband and your marriage is conflictual with the NT spouse, not that she's doing anything wrong. So now, while some people blow up with anger or frustration, others implode as you do, feeling overwhelmed, but without any outward expression. So if you're the type to bottle up feelings until they feel like they're about to burst inside, it's key to have a few tricks up your sleeve for dealing with those moments. We want to think in terms of intervention. We could probably do a whole video on prevention to where you don't even get to the implosion. But based on this question you have, we'll look at what to do when you're imploding instead of exploding. So the first thing I would suggest would be to just own your feelings. So that would be the first step in handling an implosion, is to just accept it. Ignoring your emotions can make everything worse. We don't want to do that. You want to take a moment to reflect, what's bothering me right now? Am I feeling anxious, sad, exhausted, and so on? So do a little soul searching, be honest with yourself about your emotions, and that'll set the stage for finding some better ways to cope. Another thing that I think would be important would be to try mindfulness. I know that's a very generic term, and a lot of people not really sure what that means, but it can be a game changer when you feel that the internal pressure is just building, about to explode. So this could include some deep breathing, meditation, visualizing a peaceful place. You could practice some deep breathing by inhaling through your nose for the count of 4, holding for 4, and then slowly exhaling through your mouth for a count of 4. I do this technique several times a day, and it'll help ground you and can calm those stormy thoughts swirling around in your head when you're imploding, and especially when you're getting ready to self-harm. So another thing to do would be get busy writing. Get you a nice journal. Journaling can be a very effective way to work through your feelings, but it doesn't have to be a journal. Just grab a notebook and write whatever comes to your mind. The more the better. Just have an emotional vomit on paper. Don't worry about how it sounds. Don't worry about how it looks. So spend 10, 15 minutes each day, even when things are going well, to just write freely. You might be surprised by what you discover about your emotions as you just get into the free flow of writing. So get your thoughts out on paper, and that can help clarify what's going on. Another important thing to do would be just to talk to someone. There's a lot of power in talking things out. So reach out to someone who you trust. Reach out to somebody who is not going to use any information about ASD against you, whether it's a friend, a family member, even a coworker. If you trust this coworker when you're at lunch break or something, a therapist, of course, and then let them know what you're dealing with. So choose someone who will lend you a sympathetic ear and who won't judge you. Just saying some of these things out loud can provide some relief. The other thing I would suggest would be to spot your triggers. Finding out what triggers your internal implosions is going to be paramount. You're not going to be able to identify patterns and themes unless you know what triggers you. So keep track of situations or people or certain conversations, activities, etc., that send your stress levels soaring. And once you figure out those triggers, you can create a plan to either avoid them altogether when possible, or handle them better when you can't avoid them. So if, for example, if work stress is a big trigger, you might need to have a chat with your boss about managing your workload. Another thing that I think is very important is to get moving. Movement wouldn't necessarily have to be exercise per se, but that would be even better. So exercise is one of the best ways to manage stress, and to improve your mood, to increase endorphins and so on. It's a natural way to release all that pent-up negative anxiety energy. So aim for at least 30 minutes of activity on most days, preferably 45 to 60. Could be jogging in the park, going to the gym, some simple yoga stuff. So do what feels good for you and do something that you could enjoy. Another thing I think that would be important for you to do for the imploders out there would be to create your comfort zone. So having a personal sanctuary per se can really help you during those implosions. Pick a spot at work or at home where you feel completely at ease. You could include things like blankets, a favorite book, being near a favorite plant. I don't know, you pick an object that's comforting for you. So when things get overwhelming and anxiety gets high, think in terms of, when possible, how can I retreat to a space that can offer me some comfort and a breath of fresh air? Okay, that goes without saying that professional support would also be helpful. I'm big on cognitive behavioral therapy. I don't view myself as a therapist anymore, though. I just view myself as a coach. So anyway, during these implosions, don't let them take over your life. Recognize your feelings, accept them, practice mindfulness, get moving, seek some support from friends that you can trust, journal, get to know your triggers, and so on. So that's the best I can do in a kind of a generic response without talking to you face to face. So anyway, this business of imploding is huge. Most of the people on the autism spectrum will be able to relate to this video. We do have exploders, for sure, the meltdowns, but we also have the imploders, would be the shutdowns, and that's what we talked about in this video here. Okay, hey, great question. Thank you. Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you. Hey guys, this is Mark. Click on the join button underneath any of my videos, then click on members only videos, and then click on join. And for $9.99 a month, you'll have access to members only videos, which are excerpts from previous workshops I've conducted for NT partners, ASD partners, and the neurodiverse couple. New videos will be uploaded weekly.